All right, everyone. We're going to be doing another video here. What are we talking about today? Pretty sure you already saw the title. You already saw the little thumbnail, right? We're going to be talking more Yngwie Strats. This episode, I'm going to be comparing this one right here, which is the US version 1, with this one over here, which is the ST57-140YM, right? So why are we doing that? Well, they're pretty similar as far as their time frame when they were made. And they both have the little tiny headstock, right? The little baby headstock doesn't have that big old headstock, and they are quite a bit different, these two. But let's check it out. So we'll just start off with, and this one is a 1995. I do also have a 1988, but I don't have the original pick guard on it. It has the YJMs, so I wanted to make sure to talk 100% stock to 100% stock. So we'll just start up here at the top so you can see, obviously, it has a small headstock and it has that spaghetti logo. And look, you can kind of see there where it's not completely buried inside of the finish, right? Still has the YGM logo up top. These came with the roller string trees, which, was kind of modern for the time that these guitars came out. So that's probably why they put it on there. The later models like this one came with the old school style tuners. I actually really like these because they have that hole down the center, so you never have that string hanging out to poke you. How many of your guitars can you do this? And I know there's a lot of Strats out there that can do that, right? But not a whole lot of other guitars have that feature, and that's really cool. Did I say small headstock? I'm pretty sure I did, right? So it has the logos for those year type of Strats. You can see it has a plug there, walnut plug in the maple. So you can't adjust your neck here. You have to adjust it down at the base. As far as your scallops go, they are pretty similar to the US version 2. So you might be kind of tricked into thinking that they're not as deep. The only reason why you'll think that is because this has the vintage size frets. It doesn't have the jumbos or the super jumbos like the later models do. So they are scalped still fairly well, though. You can see nice and even that fretboard wood from fret to fret. It's very nice. They did an incredibly good job on this one, and this one has some decent looking grains. Actually, let me get this freaking light on here. Oh, hang on a second. Production foul. There we. Oh, that's way too bright. Sorry. All right, so now maybe we can get a little bit better look at some of the grain that's on this thing. It's not the most spectacular you've ever seen, but look at that little bit of flame right there in the middle. There's some more going down, and it's very subtle, right? It's not as magical as some, but it's better than a lot of the others. Yeah, so brass nut, obviously, as with all of them, except for the standard model from Japan, made as an export. But these are still incredibly well made. Now let's talk some electronics. So this one has HS3, I think this is just an American standard, and then HS3. Now these tone controls are a little bit different than a lot of the YJMs, especially from the American side. This has a 5-way selector switch, right? All the rest of them up until the custom shop. Well, this one and the custom shop have a 5-way switch. All the rest of them have 3-way. Wait. I don't remember. I'll have to go and look. Sorry. There's just so many thoughts going through my head. So the other cool part about these is it has TBX tone controls, which these look completely normal and could be potentially vintage. But once you get to halfway, there's a little notch. And what TBX is I think it's treble bass expander or something like that. So once you get to that little click, it's basically a boost after that. So it's kind of like the no-load tone pot in that you get a little bit of a treble boost. It's not extreme, it's not like if you just unplug it and bypass it. Let's see, both of them have it. That's the cool part about these. Whereas the later models, they only have the bypass on the bottom tone, which is for the bridge. This one has it on both of them, which is pretty cool. Other than that, what are the differences? Well, you can see the bridge here has the 2-point bridge. So same kind of thing. That was pretty modern for the time, so that's probably why they tossed one of those on there. Just because it was like, oh man, let's make it kind of like like a super Strat without being a super Strat. And I don't know if they really thought that, but is what it is. So this one, the skunk stripe ends at about halfway through fret number 2. You can see there. And these, from what I remember, are a little bit shorter than the Japanese skunk stripe. 4-bolt neck, obviously. This one came with the 1 hole, which is kind of nice when you're changing strings, right? Other than that, you know, extremely good quality, as with all of them. It seems like, you know, Yngwie probably just didn't let any quality control slip. I don't know how much involvement he had, but if he had none and they made the guitars all this well, that is absolutely amazing, right? So body contours on this one are nice and deep, you know, you got nice thin body. It's not incredibly heavy. As far as the curve on here, there is a bit of a line up on the top of the body. It's very smooth around the side, around the top of the body, on the front and on the back. I don't know if you'll be able to see it because there's probably too much light for it, but yeah, you can see it right there. See that line? You know, it goes around the front, on the front and on the back. And I think, actually, you know what? One more thing, and you really can't see it in there, but these have tapered bridge blocks. Well, why is that? So you can dive bomb like crazy, right? So it's tapered so that you can, you know, dive bomb it, and it doesn't run into the body on the inside of there. So, you know, most people that are playing Strats probably aren't dive bombing, but you never know. Always a good option to have. So that's kind of the rundown of the first generation YJM. The first ones had different, they had, I'm drawing a blank, different branded tuners. I think DiMarzio, if I remember right. Now we'll talk ST57-140YM. So we'll talk, what does that description mean as far as the number goes? Why didn't they just call it the Yngwie Strat or, you know, whatever, like the American ones? Well, they had them designated and broke down. You know how, I guess most of the Fender Japanese models were that way, but ST stands for Stratocaster 72, or this one's, sorry, ST57-140YM. I'm like, duh. So ST57, so Stratocaster 57 reissue. 140 is the price in yen. So these would have been 140,000 yen when they came out. So this came out in 1994, and they made them, I think, until 1998 from the Fujijin factory, or 96. Depending on who you ask and where you read about the information. But this one is also kind of unique. The neck on these is a little bit thicker than, say, the ST72s and 68s and things like that, all the way from the bottom to the top. It's also a little tiny bit thicker than the USA. Not dramatic, but if you like thicker necks, the ST57 is probably going to be your best friend when it comes to the YJM model. Now, these did come with a little bit bigger frets. These are just, I think, medium jumbos. They could even be jumbos. It is a pretty good size fret. But these came with bigger frets, so they were kind of ahead of the ball game as far as that goes. It still has, you know, the brass nut, which is good. You can see it still has the old school spaghetti type logos, but these ones are buried in the lacquer, so not quite like the vintage Fenders, right? You can see this one does have the old school style tuners, and this one has the custom edition logo from Japan. I don't think that was actually a custom shop. That was just something that Fujijin was doing on these early ones. Now, speaking of the skunk stripe, look at where this one ends. Let's see if I can, yeah, see it's like almost right at the first fret. So why they make them longer, I don't know. Just part of their production, I guess. But these scallops, pretty similar to the US first version. The only thing that I noticed is, like, for example, on some of these upper frets, they have the tiniest little ledge. Are you going to hit it? Probably not. But, you know, that's one of those quality control things that you see some places on the internet. You know, and these models aren't really that bad, but you can see it. You know, it's right by the fret, you know, maybe, you know, 0.5 millimeter long. Maybe a little bit longer on some of them, but it's definitely noticeable when you look at it. When you play it, you don't really run into the frets. What are some other differences? So this one, just like all the rest of the Japanese, they don't have, at least up until the newest model, they don't have any kind of special tone pots. They're just regular tone pots. It has a low friction volume knob. They all have 5-way switches. Well, except for the newest version, right? So 5-way switches. So if you like 5-way switches, that could be a good option for you. These ones also have the same pickup layout. So HS3, and then this is Fender Japan, and then HS3 up here as well. This one, if you like more traditional bridges, so you can see 6-point bridge, boom, with the nice bent saddles. You know, some people, myself included, really like those. Those are the only saddles I like seeing. But if you have another model and it has different saddles, I don't change them. This one also has a nice big bridge block, which you can't see in there, but it's there, I promise you. Now, as far as the body rounding, you can, let's see if I can capture that. Yep, you can kind of see it. At least I can see it. But you can see kind of the same thing. Nice and rounded around the sides. And then it kind of has a line, a flat line that goes all the way around the body. And it's on the front and on the back. Back not quite so pronounced, but it is there. Let's see, what else? What am I missing? Oh, pick guard. So this is cool. It has the old 8-hole pick guard. So you can see it has less screw holes in the pick guard. And it's 1-ply versus 3-ply on the US one. So those are the main differences. You know, what I recommend one over the other, only based on the features, guys. The quality is there from both of these. So get whichever one you like. If you like, you know, more traditional Fender that's supposed to be like an actual 57, then get the Japanese one, right? If you're gonna like the modern features, oh, that's a little heavier. So this one's probably a good 1/2 pound heavier than the Japanese one as well. These are supposed to be basswood, and these are the traditional alder, right? So, you know, it's all features, whichever one you like the most. You know, the quality's there. Let me see if I can get these both in frame. You can see the Japanese ones, they typically tint their neck, you know, so if you like that, that's yet another good feature. Both of these, very, very good quality guitars. I'd recommend either of them. You know, some people have said, hey, you're creating gas for me. And it's like, I'm just trying to educate people. Whatever happens to you after I educate you, that's all on you, right? So thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you. Much appreciated.